The FADA relationship is just so insanely painful that I'm going to have to talk about it again. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying the science of attachment and attraction inside romantic relationships for nearly 20 years. And this is another edition of Carline Relationship Advice. So move your seatbelt and join me. Don't worry, I buckle up properly on the road. So let's break it down, because some of you guys are going to go, this is my relationship. No wonder I'm not feeling so great inside of it. We have the fearful avoidant person. This person had some degree of childhood trauma. Could have been little t trauma, big T trauma. It doesn't matter. Their trauma lended them to a break in trust between themselves and one or more of their caregivers growing up, thereby imprinting them with a betrayal wound. So subconsciously, they believe everybody is always going to hurt me because love means being hurt. They either learned this through watching a dysfunctional relationship between their parents, or they had a dysfunctional relationship themselves with one of their parents, where this trust break then occurred. Their deepest need is to be seen, heard, and understood. Man, they want deep love so freaking bad, but they're also terrified of being hurt. So they have both an anxious side and an avoidant side. When they're anxious, they really want to connect because that is their true desperate need for love and connection, but they're very hypervigilant and they really pick up on all of the negative things in their relationship and focus on those things. And so when they feel like they're about to be hurt or they have been hurt even in the slightest way, they pull back and they can shut down and be avoidant. Okay, they feel so deeply, they really want someone to study them, to notice them, to predict their needs, and then swoop in there and meet those needs without having to be asked, right? Without having to say, hey, can you meet this need? They want people to just know them so well, so deeply, seen, heard, understood. Okay, then we have the dismissive avoidant. The dismissive avoidant experienced childhood emotional neglect. And most of the time, they have no idea they were emotionally neglected in childhood. They, in fact, describe their childhood as good. But they usually were just a family that provided a lot of physical support, but no emotional support. They just didn't do feelings, if you know what I mean. They have a defectiveness wound. So they are very sensitive to criticism. They really strive to maintain their independence, their distance, their autonomy inside of relationships. They prefer to keep things not deep. They want surface level connection. And their biggest, deepest need inside of a relationship is for peace and for harmony. And so they want to maintain distance. And then whenever something disrupts the relationship, like conflict, they get extremely triggered and they will pull back and they will withdraw. So the cycle ends up being so painful, yet so predictable. In the cycle, it always goes like this. The fearful avoidant sees that the dismissive avoidant is deprioritizing them, is too distant, is not emotionally vulnerable enough, does not predict their needs, does not see, hear, and understand them. Okay? So they go to the dismissive avoidant and usually more critically than they should explain how they feel. Now, dismissive avoidants are oversensitive to criticism and other people's feelings really overwhelm them. So when that happens, the dismissive avoidant, of course, gets a little bit defensive, but then quickly shuts down because their nervous system has become dysregulated because the criticism activates their defectiveness wound and other people's emotions greatly overwhelm them. And it's in isolation where they regain their sense of nervous system stability. So then this leaves the fearful avoidant who wants to be deeply seen, heard, and understood, not feeling seen, heard, and understood at all. In fact, they feel completely betrayed, just reinforcing their subconscious wound that everybody will let them down. And like, what else can I do, right? So then they come back to the DA like, no, we need to resolve this. We need to fix this. This is still an issue in our relationship. DA does the same thing. Little bit of defensiveness, withdraw. Eventually, the cycle goes on long enough where the fearful avoidant starts to deactivate themselves. They start to get exasperated that they're not having their need of being seen, heard, and understood met, and they shut down. The dismissive avoidant feels chronically criticized, chronically misunderstood, mischaracterized, judged, and treated very unfairly. The fearful avoidant feels completely unacknowledged, feels very insignificant, very devalued inside of the relationship. And then we have two people that are just over here. And the cycle sort of repeats endlessly until you fix it. So I'm sure you're asking yourselves, how do I fix this? Well, if I could tell you that in one video, I wouldn't have a coaching practice. But I specifically designed my hybrid group to make sure that people have all of the tools to fix this. In my hybrid group, you can be completely anonymous in your participation, but you get to pick my brain and get everything that I teach inside of that experience. And you also get a course to take home that is made by me, and you get all of my knowledge packed in that, and you get to keep it for life. So if you are tired of that cycle inside of your relationship, you are going to want to visit me at my website, thedatingdecoder.com, and click on book group. I will see you there.